It's been more than 2 months since the end of the second season of minor league cricket. We're well into the offseason, and preparation for the inaugural season of Major League Cricket is really picking up. Here to discuss Major League with me is the one and only Justin Geale, Major League Cricket's showrunner and laundry man. Justin, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Nate. It's taken you a long time to invite me, but I'm very excited to be here.
Well, I try to be realistic. I try to start small, work my way up. And if I finally got up to to this point in the mountain, we still don't know how big the mountain is yet, but
Yeah.
one step at a time. Recently, you've somehow found the time to get married in your busy schedule. It's pretty impressive that you pulled off finding the person that you want to marry in the middle of all this. It seems like you really want to test everything out. Getting married the year before Major League Cricket, I think that's a bold move.
Yeah, we had a small window after minor league before the next event. It was meant to happen last year in the islands, but it came up with the USA. So we've been putting it off, and it was fantastic. And I have a lovely wife who is American, which brings me to this fair country. Yeah, it's great and done. And now we are absolutely back smack into major league planning because we've got a lot to do. And while a lot of time, it's going to come around very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. Tell us a little bit about your background, about where you come from, what brings you into Major League Cricket, what qualifies you to have this prestigious role in Major League Cricket?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my cricket background is I spent a lot of time in India working on the IPL with IMG and the BCCI. I was there for 8 seasons. And as you know, that's the big show. And I was incredibly fortunate to sit in the BCCI office for most of that and lead a really big team and learn an awful lot and see some things that I never thought I'd see. And along the way, at the start of CPL, did some work with them as well. And T10 and some stuff in Champions Trophy, and that's a lot of small stuff early on from, kit man with England to, signing sessions or hotel or transport or logistics at these events. So I've seen a fair bit. Nothing quite prepared me for USA cricket. I thought I'd seen it all until I got here, and the politics and the setup and the history and the opportunity sort of blew my mind. So I chased a girl over here, as you said before, and timing was fortunate. It was the same time that Ian Higgins joined and Ace had come about, and Samir, my boss and founder, and Ian and I sat together, and I couldn't say no to this amazing opportunity. Nearly 3 years in, what a ride it's been, and I feel like, as you say, the mountain is here, and we're just getting going in a way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of things people don't realize who are overseas in the cricket culture. The cricket world is this big, and USA is a piece of it. USA sports are used to being kind of like the center of all sports, and that's not the case with cricket. So a lot of people around the world in the cricket world, I think they don't really understand just how vast the country is and how many challenges logistically we have here with starting up a league. I mean, it's a massive country. There's multiple time zones. India's all got one time zone. It's got loads of people crammed into one time zone, but here we have multiple time zones. You got to work with the cities to try to get venues. There's so many different challenges here in the US. And certainly one of them, one of the things that might have slowed us down as far as getting our talent up to snuff in the past is the size of the country and how the cricket communities in the country are pretty spread out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that continues to be a challenge. I mean, I think anyone involved in cricket in this country would acknowledge, I hope, that infrastructure is our biggest challenge. We have lots of people that want to play, but just finding the right facility and the right space. I quite often joke to our guys, if we could play in a baseball stadium, I think we'd be done by now. We'd have total world domination. Not that we're aiming for that, but it takes a lot of space. To do it properly, it takes 22 yards of a special clay, and there's a lot that goes into it. So yeah, infrastructure is our biggest challenge, geography as well. And we're doing our best to overcome that, but it takes time and money. Yeah.
Yeah, and venues. like you said, if you could just play cricket in baseball venues, we'd be set. But you really can't do it. Peter from Antares Media recently did an interview with Peter Della Penna, and they were talking about that, about the venues in the country, and from a producer's point of view, what's the problem with having cricket in a non-cricket specific venue? Well, there's a ton of problems with having cricket in a non-cricket specific venue. Probably the biggest problem is it doesn't represent the sport very well
Yeah,
to people.
it's not cricket as we know it, is it? And it's great
No.
to see some stars and actually showcase the game, no doubt about it. American stadiums are absolutely phenomenal on that. They blow my mind at
Yeah.
major to minor to college. It's so much more advanced than the rest of the world. So there's such an advanced, sophisticated sports consumer here. But it's not cricket. It
Yeah.
really isn't. You don't get that 360. You don't get the run in. So if we're going to showcase the game we love and the game, I believe at T20, can really make an impact in this country, we need to have a proper size field.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one of those, the crown jewel right now in American cricket, is going to be the Air Hog Stadium in Dallas. Well, what was known as the Air Hog Stadium in Dallas. I don't think it has a name yet, does it? As far as cricket is concerned. But
we're working on it. The artist formerly known as GP Air Hog Stadium.
Yeah, the artist formerly known as Air Hogs. Let's see. Maybe we can name that.
I know our commercial team's working hard on it. I can tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the better, the bigger and better the name. Of course, I'd love to have it called something like Bart King Stadium, but you don't really get any money out of that. Yeah. So how is the Air Hog Stadium coming along?
Yeah, look, Air Hogs is exciting. We've done a lot of exciting stuff here, but for me, this is probably the most exciting. It's tangible. It's something you can touch, something you can see. From the first time I went there, I could see the vision. I think it's realistic. It's not 30,000. It's not 100,000. When we first open, it'll probably be 7,000 seats. We can scale it up for the World Cup, and we'll probably talk about that a bit later. But it is a true representation of cricket in this country. It's a full-size cricket field within a minor league baseball stadium, and it's going to look really cool.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait till the first ball is bowled come July next year, and that's actually what one of the motivating factors for me to keep going is to see that. It's really exciting, and it's a big project, and our team is small. And you look at someone like Will, who is his imprint is on every single chair, every single part of that. Not too many other leagues or sports in the world, certainly cricket, have actually had to build their stadiums before they can play in it. You can just rock up and rent a stadium and play. So this is an extra dimension of what we need to do here to get it happening.
Right, absolutely. It's definitely a very tricky layer. Those of us who have followed American cricket over the last several years have seen a lot of people talking about building new stadiums, and a lot of people with very good intentions, building new venues, but like the bottom line is it's very expensive to do this, and it's very difficult to do it in a place where it can make the biggest impact, which is location is such an important thing. Just putting up a cricket venue in the middle of nowhere doesn't really check off all the boxes that Major League Cricket needs to check off. So doing this at a place called Air Hogs, where you do have a good location, you have built-in parking all around it, you have an awful lot of things that draw people to the area already, and it's also pretty close to airport.
Yeah. It sits in a really nice spot, and as I say, we're excited. I think the challenge, and there are lots of people trying to build infrastructure here, and the major factor is cost. But when you build it, you need to schedule enough cricket to make it profitable. You need to open the doors to pay for it. And one of the biggest challenges I found in the country is also that expertise. When it comes to curating a pitch, to leveling an outfield, to getting to a standard you want. We're very fortunate that Dave Agnew, who I know, has become a friend of yours through his time at Church Street, is with us full time now. And his job is crucial, because at the end of the day, if the cricket and the product we put out isn't good, this doesn't matter. The stadium doesn't matter. All these conversations don't matter. So we really need to focus on that. And that's a challenge in this country, trying to find the expertise. I think there's probably 2-3 properly qualified people in the country.
Right.
And that's going to change rapidly, but that's one of the challenges as well, trying to build a new sport.
Yeah, I've raved about Dave Agnew. I raved about him in my interview with Josh, and I have pretty much every chance I get. I just did a podcast with Emerging Cricket where I talked about him. Yeah, if anybody can handle this, it's him. He's an expert at making something out of nothing, and he's probably got more resources coming his way now than he's used to having. When you consider that he's going to have like a whole, like that Air Hog Stadium, it's going to be a proper stadium.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's, the G220, he was there. CPL, he helps out. Morrisville and Church Street, he's part of that. He's learned under Mark Purnham, again, a very skilled curator from New Zealand. The reality is we need 6 Dave in this country, really, we do. And we need to get to that. So,
Right.
as I say, we're at the very bottom rung here. But it's a crucial skill, As the cricket gets better, the wickets need to get better. The umpiring needs to get better. The administrators certainly need to get better generally. So everything needs to rise at the same time.
Yeah, totally. Well, I hope I'm there to see the first ball too. I can't imagine not being there.
Mate, if I'm there, you're there, my friend. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that's going to be a blast. Let me tell you. I mean, I remember the very first ball bowled at Church Street Park that after Dave Agnew spent about 10 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks preparing that pitch for the 2018 World Cup qualifier.
If we go by urban myth, there was about 15,000 people I've spoken to who were there that night, right?
Yeah, they had a pretty good show. I mean, everyone, like you said, everybody's there, but everybody was there. But yeah, I think it was the very first ball, Ali Khan came in and bowled a bouncer that went over everyone, including the keeper. And it was that was like the perfect way to open that park in terms of international cricket.
We talk about venues and talk about Church Street Park and the work Pat has done there, learning from Dave now, and the wickets he produced for minor league this year were phenomenal.
He's fantastic,
and that's from someone who hasn't grown up or really understood the game of cricket. The passion he puts into it, the support he gets now from the town of Morrisville, and all the guys there is phenomenal. So again, we need more Pats, we need more Daves, we need more Jerrys.
And Pat learned from Dave, and I've learned a lot from Pat just talking to him. So it's been fantastic. These things, it's nice to see seeds planted, and then it's nice to see the flowers coming out of those seeds, which is what we're seeing right now, and we're going to continue seeing that for years to come. And speaking of people who can help plant those flowers, Zubin Sarkari, who you guys have hired.
Yeah, Zub's has joined us, and another great addition to the team. I wish I had 2 of him straight away. Zub's come from obviously a playing background, which is always a really good perspective, representing Canada and been to World Cups, more recently with the ICC. And yeah, like you would have seen him running around this year, a minor league, and he embraced it like no one you know. So he's doing a great job. I've stepped off minor league cricket now and really focusing on major league, and that's Zubin's baby to take and grow and do that. At the same time, you've spoken with Josh. We're trying to roll out hybrid wickets, so that's a massive project in itself. So
sure,
Zubs is also working across that with Mangesh at Prairie View, is also in everything and runs an amazing facility and really is one of those people that so knowledgeable in sport in this country and networked, and is another really important part of our team moving forward.
Yeah, everybody knows Mangesh now. Zubin, I've liked him since the first time I met him. A great guy. I tend to love the Canadian cricketers because so many of them like hockey, which is one of my favorite sports. So that that's one aspect of it. Another reason is just because they kind of share the same struggles that American cricketers share, and they're all kind of in the same boat together. But yeah, Zubin's done a great job. It was an excellent job hiring him. He's with his history working with the ICC. Let's talk now about what we can expect from Major League Cricket in its inaugural season. This is the really exciting thing. This is probably the reason a lot of people are going to watch this. So let's talk now. What can we expect from Major League Cricket this coming summer?
Yeah, so we've released the window now. That's a really important stage for us. We're looking at running from the 13th of July through to the 30th of July, and fair bit of science has gone into that. Such a crowded cricket calendar at the moment, as we all know, there is so much going on. We strongly believe we can, create our own sort of way there, and that's going to take a little bit of time. Ideally, we'd probably play a little bit earlier in the year, post IPL, and that's probably something to move to. We've chosen this next year. It's not too long after the qualifying for World Cup, and obviously the USA there, and wouldn't be worth playing Major League in the USA without our top guys. We want, Steve and Aaron and Monak, and everyone needs to be there and firing.
Sure.
But now we've also seen, Sri Lanka, South Africa, West Indies in that qualifying, which is exciting. So post that gives us the best opportunity to try and attract the best talent in the world, and we're quite confident we can attract some of that talent. The window there gives us probably access to Australia, New Zealand, West Indies, South Africa, possibly Pakistan, Afghanistan, given the FTP at the moment. So
Sure.
that changes daily given the world, but we're out there at the moment talking to agents and players, and pretty confident that we can get some of the world's best here to showcase the game of cricket that we love to existing fans in the country, of which there's a lot, but also to new fans.
Right, and you mentioned Pakistan. So yeah, Pakistan might actually have some players in. That would be fantastic. Maybe even Little Pakistan, aka Netherlands, can get some players in the league as well. I'll have to look and see how their calendar lines up with that sweet spot. But yeah, that's it. Of course, I'm alluding to the fact that the World Cup, Pakistan really counted on Netherlands winning a game there, and they came up for them, and they rode it all the way to the final. Pakistan did. So that's been a great World Cup this year. It's been a fantastic World Cup.
So good. And most pleasing for me now, working here in associate cricket and coming from, a full member to here, it's been eye-opening. But when I first got here, I was so shocked by how good the talent was here. I was probably equally as upset as what the grounds they had to play on and the facilities they had.
Yeah.
And just in this short space of time, we've seen, our results and our players, and USA national team and Major League Cricket players improve. But to see, all these guys on the world stage, even Zimbabwe, who's had a tough time, and
True.
it's a great leveler, and I think the game is getting closer. And I think that bodes really well for cricket, Major League Cricket, and what we're trying to do, and also the USA national team, which is a really exciting opportunity, especially coming into next year in the 24, when we dearly hope, and we're working really closely with the ICC regularly that Grand Prairie will host some World Cup matches.
Yeah, I mean, it's a T20. There's a better chance for anything to happen in a T20 than in a 50 overs game. And we saw a fantastic tournament from Netherlands. They earned their place automatically into the next World Cup, which will be here, partly here and partly in West Indies. But with two associates already having qualified for the 2020 World Cup for certain, that's great. USA, maybe we might even, who knows, we might see Netherlands playing a World Cup game at Church Street Park against USA. That's in the cards. It can potentially happen. The Church Street Park itself has plans to convert to a stadium, so you never know.
No, you never know. And that work starts pretty soon, and that's a pretty fundamental part of Major League Cricket next year. Church Street Park forms a big part of that. Lots of work needs to be done, both on a permanent and a temporary basis to host it. We're excited about that. Just to get practice wickets there is a game changer.
Be massive.
The country lacks that. So I mean, in terms of World Cup, ICC and the WICB are looking at venues, and we're working really closely with them. And we've got some great venues here. We will have Grand Prairie, Fort Lauderdale and Florida down there. That's a great venue, capable. And you look at why not Church Street Park?
Exactly. Why not Church Street Park? In my opinion, the best place right now to watch cricket in the USA, the home of the minor league cricket finals the last 2 seasons. Certainly it means something to me. But back to the first inaugural Major League season, we're going to have overseas players. We talked about where they could potentially come from. We could be seeing some of the big name players from this World Cup that we've just seen. But we're also going to see USA players and minor league cricketers playing as domestics in the Major League Cricket. How many of these do you think we're going to see per team, roughly, in the in the structure of the team, not necessarily the playing 11s.
Yeah, well, and we're working out player regs now, and obviously there's a lot that goes into that, to salary cap, to the number of matches per season, all that sort of stuff. But I would anticipate there would be at least 10 or 11 of domestic players in squads, possibly more. And that's why we've spent the last 2.5 years working, with cricketers in this country and developing minor league and really giving players a platform to play against each other at a high level. And that's what it's all been about. As I said to you when we were talking a little earlier, it's not always the sexy stuff, but to get to here, we've got to start down the bottom. And if our domestic players aren't up to it and the cricket's not good, then it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So there's such an important piece of this. So we expect to see, all the best domestic talent playing against some of the world's best.
And I recently talked via text to Shayan Jahangir, the wicketkeeper batsman for the Lone Star Athletics, who just recently made the USA national team. He just made the cut for the team that's heading down to Namibia, about the quality improvement in the last couple of years. And he definitely had a lot of positive things to say about that, about how minor league cricket has contributed to, his growth and the growth of the game in the country. Part of the point of minor league cricket, and part of where it really has raised the bar in terms of talent in the country, has been the age group players, the U21s and the U19s. And we just saw another age group player make the USA men's team with Saideep Ganesh heading in. And he had a phenomenal minor league cricket season. And he also had a really good Altius 50-over season, which was one of Major League Cricket's 50 overs projects this last spring. And that was played mostly on the hybrid wicket, which performed pretty well.
Yeah, it was on turf and hybrid, and we support them. The local leagues run that; they do a great job up there, as local leagues do across this country. Without them, there would be no sort of funnel or pathway. We're just building on that.
Sure.
There is some phenomenal talent. As I said, the youth is a massive part of that. Minor league, we do. When we drafted the rules initially and crafted them, we were really conscious of putting in that caveat about the use of under 19, under 21 players and youth players, because we thought it was important. There was a danger that it would be a token rule and they would just sit there and ride the bench and, maybe, run around the field, bat at 10, not bowl. That's not the case if you look at the figures, and no one has done that probably what we do in this country. So, we put a rule in for minor league. We won't do that in major league, but I'm absolutely sure on talent alone, players will get picked. And there's also an opportunity to bring in youth players with squads and have them, even if not they're part of, the 11, but do part of travelling squads and practices and all that sort of stuff. Because again, this is all about developing local talent, funneling that through to the USA national team. So that'll also be part of Major League Cricket.
And anybody who's paying attention, which I'm sure the teams are going to have analysts who know about the history, who followed minor league, or who are going to be caught up. Like, if you do have something like that going on, you could even steal an actual contributor via that method. You could pick up an actual. I mean, imagine like a player like Vatsal Geale, for example, going if there was a youth selection or a U21 slot or something like that, you could scoop him up, and then now you've got a guy who can actually contribute immediately. So,
there's a whole team of them, isn't there? You look at that under 19 team that was very unlucky that we've all spoken about a lot. The players coming through is still, growing and learning, and they've got, there's a lot of pressure on them early, but you look at their development, how rapid it's been. I think now, we've seen Sai over and doing some stuff in India. We talk about sending some guys to Australia to play some great cricket there, and coaching, and that's only going to make them better cricketers. They're at the very start of their career. They've got a long time, and they're at the first wave here of Major League Cricket, and who knows in 5 years' time what that means. Hopefully they're out playing T20 leagues around the world, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, let's hope so. I think we have a great chance here. We've already seen some of our youth go off to do some really, really cool things. Matthew Tromp recently playing in the U19 tournament, in the U19 franchise tournament that took place in Pakistan. He did phenomenal in that. He was absolutely tremendous. He's a strong young man, who has a lot of skill, and I think we have those guys. It's amazing to me how good our young players are, and I'm excited heading into the next U19, which was announced earlier this week, where they were talking about how they're going to start that pathway. USA is going to start that pathway, looking ahead to the next U19 World Cup.
Yeah, and 15's run at the moment. That looks good from what I saw today, scores and talking to people down there. So yeah, I mean, the future is bright for cricket here in this country, and the opportunity is, I hate saying the word potential because it's been said in this country so many times. But I think if it's gonna work, it needs to be now. And it takes all stakeholders pulling together, because there's lots to do. But the
Right.
opportunity is a huge one, and I think it's real. That's the thing. The rest of the cricket world is watching, and there's certainly, on a weekly basis, the calls I get from all around the world, just asking, just sort of curious what's happening here. People are taking notice. So
Yeah, it's certainly an exciting time. Everybody loves the potential of the United States, for as far as sports goes. Everybody knows we have great sports here, and I think the standard that we have puts a little bit extra pressure on you guys. But it's all for the best.
no, it really does. As I said earlier, the sports consumer here is a very sophisticated one, whether that's via broadcast or in stadium. The expectation is high, so we need to we talk about this a lot. We need to, while exposing them to cricket and the traditional elements of cricket we love, but how do we Americanize that in a way? How do we make it relevant to this market? Is it via innovations in broadcast and the overuse of stats and analytics and presenters and all that sort of stuff. So
Right.
while our opportunity is huge and the canvas is blank, it is a bit daunting some days. Yeah.
Sure, and make sure you spell an Americanized with a Z. Too many people, it drives me nuts seeing people complaining like, "Oh, cricket's becoming Americanized." And first of all, they spell it with an S. I'm like, you guys missed a decent joke there. You could have just put a Z in. But people complain about that, but I don't think they know what they're talking about often. Because honestly, I think cricket needs to, if cricket's Americanized, at least here, it has to be Americanized. And so, Americanized to me, for as far as sports goes, means that you have a reliable, dependable, professional version of the sport. Where you don't find out what the schedule is 3 weeks before it starts.
Yeah, no, I mean we've got cricket's a great game, and all my friends here now, my adopted country, love it. Everyone knew I show and teach and embrace the game. It is, it's high scoring. Something is happening every ball. It's an event in T20 cricket. So I've no doubt, if given the right opportunity to experience it, it will work. But yeah, we have to recognise that these are, it's a very traditional market. They're used to sport in a certain format, and cricket sometimes can be very traditional and sort of get in the way of itself. And
Right.
I think we've got a great chance here to do things a little different while not compromising on the integrity of cricket.
Right, yes. And I think one of the people who is introducing it to people the right way is John Boy. We've talked about his relationship with Major League Cricket. It's no secret that he's talked to Major League Cricket, and he's excited about Major League Cricket, about how that's coming.
Major League Cricket. I think just he's a fan of the game. He's a new fan to the game.
Yes.
And watching his breakdowns are fantastic. I'm not a new fan of baseball, but I love it. So I was watching it long before cricket just to understand more about baseball. To see someone doing that for cricket, making it relevant to this market, as much of that as we can get, great. And they do a great job. We had Paxton at the minor league final, who's part of their crew, as you know, and she was a fantastic addition. So as much as we can integrate, people who want to come along the journey with us, I think we're a really broad church, and the more the merrier. Quite frankly, we need ambassadors. We need people to share the sport. That's the only way we're going to get traction.
Yeah, 100%. It's like you said, they're exciting and they're excited. And when they're the type of people that when they get excited about something, the John Boy Media crew is when they get excited about something, they do a really good job. promoting that thing just kind of accidentally, because they're sharing it with people. They're sharing their joy with. That's kind of, to me, the big thing about John Boy. It's like your buddy is showing you something that he's excited about. Every time you watch one of his breakdowns, he's like, it's like your buddy saying, "Hey, did you see this? Did you see this little thing here? This guy's tipping his pitch, and I'll show you. I'll prove to you how he's tipping his pitch." It's like, that's what it's like watching his breakdowns, and I can't wait to see more of that. Every time he does a cricket one, I go crazy. That's hundreds of thousands of Americans that are now know what cricket is and understand kind of how it's played in his ball and play league, which was kind of baseball skills with cricket rules, basically. And
no, we can learn from that. I know my brother-in-law and nephews and nieces here via a wiffle ball is how I sort of taught them the game, and it works both ways. So I think the more we can cross promote and explain it, because cricket can be a complicated game.
True.
There's an awful lot going on. So in any sport when you break it down, but cricket particularly. So as many people that can explain it, in basic terms, whether that's via a pitcher or a home run or whatever that is to a six or a bowler.
Yeah.
That's fine.
yeah, and it doesn't take a lot to enjoy a cricket game. It doesn't take a whole lot of knowledge to enjoy a cricket game, and then it's, I don't know, most people when they get into sports, it's like they just want to know how to follow it, and then as they watch it, they're like, they have these eureka moments where they realize where the strategy is, and that's what tends to really sink the teeth into people. So I'm looking forward to many of those moments in the coming years. With John Boy and with others. So we talked a little bit about Church Street. We talked about Air Hogs, the stadium formerly known as Air Hogs. So what are the other venues we got popping up now? I know there's Irvine, California. There's Seattle. Where else do you see these venues popping up?
I mean, ultimately, every team needs to have a home venue, because that's how we're going to grow it in each market and grow a brand in each market. As you spoke at the start of this, that stadiums are expensive and the planning process is long and it takes time. It's a slow burn. So our infrastructure team is out there, and we're making some really solid progress, but it takes a while. So I think in reality, this first season will be, in 2 or 3 venues, and we'll be compact. And as we, move year on year and expand, I think we can do it rapidly. But, we aim to have a stadium in each of these sort of foundation teams, within 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. In the meantime, I imagine Church Street Park, we'll probably get a little bit of use there for some major league games. That's very exciting. And I imagine the chaos that's going to ensue there, especially if some of the bigger names players end up playing there, that would be absolutely phenomenal. Church Street itself is going to be pretty busy. So.
Yeah, no, it sure is. It sure is. And we're working with the town now, and a lot needs to happen to take it from a minor league final to a major league game. But we're confident we can do that.
Right.
And what a place to showcase. I spoke about Dallas being a representation of where we are as a country in terms of cricket in minor league. Church Street Park is like that. It looks great on camera. It's great to walk around, and
looks great.
Anytime I think I could be anywhere. I could be in a county out around in the UK. I could be in Australia or New Zealand. And it's quite reassuring in a way. And you turn around and, geez, I'm in North Carolina, Morrisville. Go Tar Heels. It's quite a surreal feeling.
It is. I like these kind of jewel box type of stadiums. They're like great for showcasing the sport, the beauty of the sport. The European Cricket League has a nice venue out there in Spain that just looks absolutely gorgeous on TV. Those types of things. What was it? The Cricket District went out there and did a video about the European Cricket League, and I just thought that venue was so beautiful. That's what it reminded me of Church Street Park. So these little smaller, more intimate venues with some hills to sit on that are just nicely surrounded by some nature. I love that.
Yeah.
New
Anything
Zealand.
in this country needs to be community based as well. Given the season we have, given how many days of actual cricket we'll have, that they need to be multi-use and multi-purpose. So it's really important we work with the local councils, towns, cities to establish that, and that's the only way we're going to get the land we need, because it takes a big block of land to build a cricket ground.
Of course, yeah, and it's not like baseball where you have 81 home games a year and you can justify a stadium because it's going to bring a whole lot of people to the restaurants across the street. It's like like you said, you have to find the other uses for it. And hopefully, obviously, some of those uses will be the community's cricket.
Yeah, community cricket, and be that concerts at in Dallas, and all sorts of other events. But they need to be multi-use. There's no doubt about that.
All right, yeah. So as we mentioned, Church Street was the home of the minor league finals the last 2 years. This last season, the finals were played under the lights, which was absolutely stunning. Great job by Antares Media doing the special premium broadcasts all season long, ending on the final 3 weeks at Church Street Park. That was a wonderful step in the right direction for minor league cricket. Was how the games were presented to people via the premium broadcasts. The minor league viewing numbers this year, I believe, were over about 1 million internationally or so.
Yeah, globally, that's correct. Yeah, so which is a pretty phenomenal result when you look at where we played, the resources. I think it was like 200 games over 10 weeks.
Yeah.
A lot of cricket played. And people are taking notice. I mean, the global numbers are great, and that was through India and Pakistan, and Bangladesh was quite strong for the finals. And I got calls from Australia as well to see it. But most heartening as well to see in our core cricket demographic. If the Dallas team was playing, the viewership in Dallas was high. There was this really sort of local parochial sort of support as well, which is really important.
Yeah.
Not easy to stream 200 games. It takes a lot of effort from our franchises and our central team and our suppliers. It's certainly worth doing, and we learn all the time. If you look at the quality that's come up over the last 3 years, I think you could argue that certainly the premium stream was as good as anything you'll see at that level of cricket around the world. So that's pretty special for a small team in a nation that isn't known for its cricket.
Right, and many of those games had Nikhil Chandani on commentary, and he's fantastic. He's up and coming. Everybody in cricket's going to know his name sooner or later. So it just had a great feel to it to me. Like it felt like its own thing. Minor league cricket this year, and 10 weeks. It's a 10-week season. Now this is like in American sports minds, 10-week season isn't really a big deal. But
we have an NFL. What are you talking about?
Well, in cricket, in the cricket franchise world, 10-week season is huge, and our country is huge. The USA is huge, and you're talking about having a premium broadcast every weekend from Los Angeles, California, all the way up to Morrisville, North Carolina, and all these stops in between. That is pretty much an unprecedented accomplishment.
Yeah, and I guess we don't have time to sort of stop and look back that often. We do every now and then, but where we come from in a pretty short space of time, and we're nowhere near where we need to be. Let me caveat this by saying that, but it's pretty phenomenal and testament to the cricket community here in the USA and my team. I think you look at we've got a team of really 3 or 4 that delivered that. Someone like Josh who doesn't sleep for the whole time, and Zoops comes in at our commercial team and our streaming team. But to do that along with the franchises, I mean, credit's got to go to the franchise owners who are passionate, who spend a lot of their own money on this because they believe in cricket and they want to help, and that's their fundamental motivation. So it's an amazing effort, and it's only going to get stronger, I believe, and make all this sort of blood, sweat, and tears for the last 3 years worthwhile.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I'd like to see in the future is like major league teams buying the minor league teams so that they could kind of establish, get ahead of the game on the other teams and make like a farm system almost of their own. And kind of take those players under their wing and kind of mold them into what they want them to be. If the rules of retention of players and things like this go along with helping to nourish that type of an atmosphere, that would be pretty exceptional.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty unique in terms of franchise cricket around the world, where we have built out that feeder system to a degree. So I think you'll see the smarter major league teams straight away aligning with multiple minor league teams, and it just makes sense that there is a a pathway, but that also stretches across, coaching and potentially academies and outbound tours and all that sort of stuff. I think the
Right.
possibilities are endless. Yeah, the synergies there. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's the good kind of Americanization I'm talking about.
With a
With
Z
a Z.
or a Z.
With a Z. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, we talked a little bit about the 2022 World Cup, how amazing it is, how we got the World Cup coming here in 2024. So I guess the last thing to talk about here is, what do you feel like you're going to measure your success by at the end, a year from now when we're talking again? And if I can get a hold of you anymore by then, because you'll be this far, you'll be much farther up the mountain by then.
I'm going to say, hopefully it works, mate, and I still have a job. Let's see. With the first thing. No, we talk about this a lot. It's really important in terms of strategy and find success. We also need to be realistic as to what we can achieve. But I mean, from day one, to me, the most important thing is the cricket. If we can get the product right, and I hate talking to product because we become in this, but if we can get the cricket, the product right, and then I believe we can build out from there, because then people will generally get a chance to see how great this game can be. If we get the product right, people need to see it. So the broadcast has to be as good as we can possibly do. So we need to push that out domestically, wider channel as we can, and globally, so we can show we're serious. And as we've spoken about, people coming to the game need to enjoy it. They need to come back. They need to bring a friend and 10 friends. So they need to have an experience of watching a great game, but it needs to be commensurate with, an American sport experience, be that, all the razzle and dazzle and fireworks and all the stuff that goes with that in concessions. We need to make sure we're up there as well. So I think if we can look back and we can tick those three, I think we can be pretty proud of ourselves and know we've given ourselves the best chance to move forward and make this a success.
Awesome. Yeah. So fan experience is right up there. So we're going to have t-shirt cannons for sure.
Absolute t-shirt cannons, hot dog guns. Our head of legal has already bags the t-shirt gun. But yeah, no, maybe it's pyros on boundaries and blowing stuff up or bobbleheads. Maybe there'll be a rusty bobblehead. Who knows?
That's a good idea. I think we get the Corey Anderson bobblehead going down there. Rusty Theron. Yeah, it's and then you know what? The Japanese love their mascots. They even have villain mascots sometimes.
There's 100% mascot races. We have to. Maybe the freeze. You could be the freeze now.
I'm the one that gets the head start. If I'm the freeze, I get the head start. Yeah, we could do hot dog races. Yep, put everybody in a president's head or something like that. Run around, get John Boy to fall over or something. Yeah.
Actually, I think I can conceptualize these and throw these to Tom and the team to go and make it happen. But yeah, I think we do have a blank canvas, and we need to appeal to the our existing fan base, which understands the game, and to a new fan base coming for the first time, and families and men and women and everyone. It's a massive appeal.
Perfect. Yeah. Next thing, do you do WWE at intermission or something? Or
you see the stadium now as a massive mud pit, so we're just quite joking. Maybe we can get some mud wrestling in there now as a
good idea. Yeah, as a promo. There you go. I think you might have to label that not appropriate for children or something like that on YouTube.
Oh, no.
But you can have the monster trucks there or something, right now.
Imagine Dave Agnew if we try to take a tuck to a truck on his brand new wicket. No.
Yeah, there you go. What is the fire breathing robot dinosaur? Yeah. Well, thanks for joining and talking to me about all this exciting stuff. Great, exciting announcements have happened and will continue to happen all winter. So I can't wait to talk more about it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Nate. And personally, thank you for all your support. You look at we talk about Nickel, but you, Aman, and then there's lots of our champions of this sport and voices for us, and we can't do it without every one of you. So, I thank you as well for all your support thus far. And, as I say, we're only just begun.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, man.